Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Narrow border, all hands man your battle station.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
Hello, everybody. 7 down, 5 to go. Happy August. Today's the 1st. Happy August, everybody.
Happy August.
Happy August, everybody.
Have an August.
Have an August.
Have an
everybody.
Augustus Caesar August.
That's right. That's where we get August from. Hi, Tom Trento here. August 1. How many August birthdays? Anybody? Nobody.
No.
How about you driving your car? Keep your hands on the wheel. Happy August 1st, everybody. This is the month that the 15th lives in. August 15th lives in the month of August. And that's the real beginning of the hurricane season in Florida. That's when the ocean waters are about 200 degrees. And they mix with the air in the stratosphere. You didn't know that I was a
meteorologist?
meteorologist, did you?
Climatologist?
Did not know climate meteorologist to read. And the cold water and the hot water do this, and your house is gone. That's the way it works in Florida.
I thought I was the weather girl for this organization,
Oh, that's
but I guess
right.
not.
That's right.
That was my old job.
And there's about if you own a house in Florida, you have
Get
about
demoted.
18 different insurances: flood insurance, wind insurance, rain insurance, snake insurance. I mean, everything in the world. But you know what? Your insurance is being here every day, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's pretty smooth, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice
5
seg-
o'clock.
Nice
Not
segue.
bad. Not bad.
Speaking of segues,
5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, WNN 1470. That's the flagship and only radio station for our TrentoVision network. This is CJ right here.
right there.
Oh, right here.
This is actually a green screen. What you see behind me is not there. So the question is
If
CJ,
it's not there,
CJ.
am I here?
Is CJ really
Actually,
here?
we could superimpose her in there, and you would not know the difference.
That's right. She could be somewhere else.
She could be somewhere else, and a little split shot in front
Where
of the
is
And
CJ?
am I somewhere else right now?
She's right
you
there.
figure it
I
out.
can touch her.
Touch her,
See?
touch her.
We make jihad
Too
fun.
much fun.
Too much fun.
We volunteer with an organization called the United West. It's
Because
a,
we can't get jobs.
no, we're totally screwed with getting a real job.
We'll
let me
never
tell
get
you.
a job.
Who is going to hire?
Who's going to hire you?
You know, who's gonna hire?
Oh,
Me, I'm very employable.
That's right.
For maybe the
and the
hate
crowd
organizations
goes
of the world.
wild.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Tom Trento. We volunteer with an organization called the United West. Originally, the organization was called the Florida
Security Council.
And our job was, our focus was back then about 18.5 million people in the state of Florida. Our goal was to work to strengthen the national security apparatus in the state of Florida, in particular as it impacted the average citizen. And one of the programs we dealt with, besides our investigative work, all of that, anyone familiar with community policing, the doctrine of community policing, which became very big back in the 70s? You guys know what community policing is?
Is that something you do in your neighborhood after
Is
a
that what
hurricane?
George Zimmerman did?
Yeah, well, no, that's an offshoot, actually. Community policing was the brilliant idea that instead of cops driving around in their marked cars through neighborhoods, they would actually get out of the car, get in the community, talk to the people.
Like they used to do.
And,
Like walking the beat.
like they used to do in the
Yeah,
30s and
yeah,
40s, all of that, and get to know the community. So there was an effort to hire policemen from the community, have their cars parked in their homes, all of this.
Right, right.
And it's actually a very good doctrine of policing. And out of that came the reality that there's a limitation of police officers for the growing extent of the United States and some of these communities. So the concept of assisting community policing came in with all these citizen observer patrols, COP programs, and communities all across the United States. LA was one of the leaders in this. Formed a citizens corps of people. This is the George Zimmerman situation.
Like Neighborhood Watch.
Yeah, well, but it came out of the police department as
Right.
opposed to a homeowners association. That was the difference. You're trained by the police. You have police radios. Sometimes you use police cars. All of this stuff.
Right.
And you're extending the eyes and ears of the police from a community policing, crime and crime prevention point of view. Well, the Florida Security Council, one of the ideas we had back then, was to take that model and apply it in a counterterrorism motif in the state of Florida,
Okay.
to equip people to be alert to the and one of the things you're trained on, if the garage door is open at 2 o'clock in the morning, probably the guy didn't mean that. That's something you should, report in.
Right.
To report in to the various organizations that deal with counterterrorism.
Well,
So
that actually worked well back in World War II. That same concept that
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about, and that's how they caught the people coming on the beach in the submarines from
Right.
from
They were
Germany.
watching
Germans,
for
yeah.
They were
them.
watching for it. They
Yeah.
reported it to the local authorities, the FBI. The FBI took it over and
Right.
did the investigation. And that's the way the world is supposed to work.
It's the way it's
But-
supposed to work. Where is?
So how
oh,
did
here
that
we
go?
Well, that was
How did
one
that
of the
morph?
issues of the Florida Security Council. But what we did more so was a lot of education on counterterrorism. And I'm sharing this for our new viewers. If you haven't noticed, CJ, more and more people are watching the show.
I know. I
And
know.
more and more people are listening.
Listening to
the
the
show.
show.
You are
So-
creating Islamophobes left and right.
Well, what do you say? We got 50,000 watts of what there, Imam Abdul?
Yeah, what is that?
What is that?
What?
50,000 watts?
50,000 watts of Islamophobia.
50,000 watts of Islamophobia coming out of Boca Raton,
Coming
Florida.
from the Ayatollah of Islamophobia himself, Tom Trento.
Yeah, my new name. In the Florida Security Council, we did a lot. We got involved in a lot of presentations, brought experts in, brought Geert Wilders in, Frank Gaffney, all of this stuff. And then we started launching some of our own investigative campaigns using cameras to expose. And the core of our work, even at the Florida Security Council, was truly being patriotic to America, being Zionistic in our national security reach with the state of Israel, recognizing that Sharia-compliant Islamic jihad is a bad thing.
That's
It's
right.
a bad thing that needs to be defeated and destroyed.
Not healthy for
And
children
Tom,
and
one
other
of the
living
things-
things.
One of the things I'm really extremely proud of during the Florida Security Council days was people always say we hate Muslims, we hate Muslims, we hate Muslims, but talk about Rifka Berry, and
Yeah.
that's one of the great things I'm really proud of.
Yeah, during that time, which was from 2007 to 2011, 4 years of the Florida Security Council, we did a lot of work. I thought you were going to say a lot of with Zuhdi Jasser, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser.
Well, that too.
Did a lot of work with him, sponsored events, spoke with him, did a tremendous amount.
Yeah, but I think this goes beyond the pale of Zuhdi Jasser.
And then we were involved in the rescue of Rifka Barry and the protection of Rifka Barry, a convert, a Muslim young lady who was a minor, converted to Christianity, and then was under threat from her family, honor killing, and all the doctrinal issues of being an apostate in Islam. We stepped around and helped her, and then other Muslim women who had not converted but simply had
Right.
problems with their families started contacting us, and wherever we could, we helped. But what happened is we found ourselves in other states, like the state of near insanity.
You're right. Dearborn and
Well, what happened is, especially because Florida is a state that people visit from all over the country, they come to Florida, They come see Tom's programs and the Florida Security Council programs, and they say, "Oh my gosh, we need to have this in New Jersey. We need to
California
have this in
Security Council.
Pennsylvania
Yeah,
and
yeah.
California. Can you come talk to us in St. Louis?" And before you know it, it's all over the country.
And not only that, the whole point of the United West,
Exactly.
quote unquote, is that we were going over to Europe. They were calling us over to France. It's, oh my God, we got, you guys think you got it bad there.
Come
You
on
gotta
over
come on
here.
over here and
You
see
want
what
to
it's
see
like.
Jump and
Juma
Juma, go to
Freaky Friday,
Paris.
yeah,
Yeah, we were going
there. Yeah.
a little further up.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
That's okay.
That's close.
Um,
And the UK and every place else. Yeah.
Yep, and we would be speaking in California or New Jersey, one of these places, and they go, "Florida Security Council, what are you doing here?"
Right.
So
Yeah.
we needed a more generic name. So the
Yeah.
United West came, and the genesis of that is very interesting. We were watching the OIC, Organization for Islamic Conference, back then.
Back then, now cooperation.
Which is the largest Muslim bloc of states, 56 now.
57.
Palestine, Gaza,
Watch
whatever
it.
is.
No, it has 57 members. Whether they're all states or not is
Right.
a different issue. But
57 members
Yeah.
in the United Nations, the largest voting bloc,
Yeah.
essentially, out of 200 countries.
194.
Yeah, it changes. I mean, every day is a country falling and flying and
They
everything
keep
else.
splitting. It's kind of like stock splits.
We have an intern there that has a question. I don't know what it is.
Just scratching.
Behind you. No. There's an intern behind you.
Uh-oh.
One of our interns. During the show, it's a live show, folks. So out of all of that, we said, look, the Ummah family, the Islamic family, has united, and they are fighting Western civilization. They tell us that.
Yeah.
Ought not we unite the West based upon the Greco-Roman philosophies, the Judeo-Christian ethical principles, all of this stuff together, formulated a Western view of life, of a Weltanschauung, articulated through Europe for the most part. Maybe we need to unite the West, which is losing to Islamic jihad, and the United West came out of that. So that's where the name came from. And today we bring you one of the components of our education communication outreach, which is this show.
Right.
Yeah.
And just FYI, United West was an airline, a name that was already taken, so we couldn't use that.
United and West. They still think we're an airline.
And they still think we're an airline.
But, and the same principles. Patriotism to the United States, to the Constitution, solidarity with Israel as a national security partner. We have to say that now. We don't say solidarity with the UK. That's a given. With Israel, there's so much antagonism toward the state of Israel. We have to delineate and
Wait a minute.
and say it very clearly. We are standing with Israel. Yes, dear.
I don't think that the United States is antagonistic towards Israel. They get invited to all the iftar dinners at the
that's
State Department.
True. And we have some iftar stuff here. So in any event, at 14 minutes after 5 p.m. on a beautiful Thursday.
Sunny
Thursday
Thursday.
Sunny Thursday.
Sunny
is what I meant to
day,
say.
yeah.
Sunny days. We've had some rain, but now it's beautifully sunny day. In fact, this is the most sunny day we've had in, I don't know, a long time.
Very hot. My
Very
wife is smoldering in her niqab.
Yeah, why do you make your wife wear a tent and only have her eyes exposed? We don't understand that, Imam Abdullah. By the way, we to show our, multicultural sensibilities, we've reached out and invited an imam to participate in the show. And Imam Abdullah Yulful.
Al-Samach Aleihim Infidels.
He is with us on a daily basis. And we've seen pictures of his wife,
Well, he has 4.
I have not
actually.
even seen my wife. How have you?
No, with the niqab and the little slit in the eyes.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, well, I mean, why in the world would you cover?
Well-
Is she a beautiful lady, or is she like got a face like from
You might not think so. I consider her. It's okay.
Why wouldn't you let the world,
I have
share?
listen,
in her
I have
beauty?
4 wives. I have one in Pakistan. I have one in Virginia by the Adams Center, and I have 2 here in Florida. The youngest of the wives still look okay. The one that is sweating in her niqab, not so much.
Well, I did see.
But
on
why do you
CNN
keep her in that?
It is. Trust me, it is better to see her in it than out of it. Okay, let us leave it there.
No, no, but you don't want any other like people to soil her. You know, you want to keep her under wraps, right?
Yes, it is to prevent other men from attacking because, as you know, Muslim men are animals and cannot control themselves. So we keep our women covered to prevent attacks from men outside of the family.
Attack.
Isn't that cute? To prevent attacks by men outside of the family. The men inside the family are free to attack.
Speaking of women and their place in society, you have a guest on phone that
do we?
actually tries
Yes.
to shelter abused women. I will not let her speak with anyone in the Muslim community, but you met her at your Republican in the Port St. Lucie meeting.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
I believe she has an event that you said that you would help plug for her. And I believe she's online now. Her name is Carissa.
Well, yes, we met Carissa just a few days ago. Hi, Carissa, it's Tom. Are you there?
I thought she was there.
See you guys live.
Big setup, and she is not there.
Yes. Try it again.
Continue.
Before we
Scared
get
her
Carissa
away.
back on, because I interrupted you a little bit when you were explaining the genesis of the United West.
Came out of the thinking to unite the
To
West
unite the
against
West.
Sharia-compliant Islam.
But how can people find out more information about the United West and maybe see some of the history of the work that the United West has done?
That's a great
Where
question.
would they go for that information?
Go to theunitedwest.org. How about that? We have a website, tells our whole history. The drop-down menus tell a little bit about us, our mission statement, an executive statement, some of our programs. Pretty cool website. We're in the midst of refreshing it and solidifying the TrentoVision into the United West so that you only have to go to one site.
Right.
But once we get a little more money, we'll be able to do
Right.
that.
And you can donate securely at the United West site, can you not?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Just click that
Is there a
donate securely button at theunitedwest.org. Also, where else can they visit us besides?
Speaking of websites, they
Yeah.
can go to Tea Party Community.
Hello, Tea Party community.
.com, teapartycommunity.com, watchdogwire.com. Cool site that is a watchdog over government's abuse of finances, abuse of politics.
Excellent citizen journalism.
And Rich Swire, who was one of the original developers of Florida Security Council and the United West, is the Florida editor for Watchdog Wire. BizPackReview.net. They have a great site. We work with those guys. Bonnie over at BareNakedIslam.com. And Carissa is
amazing.
back, right?
I just have her site up, Bonnie's site up on Bare Naked Islam. The top story is Muslim Brotherhood demands that Brother Obama and NATO invite Egypt and destroy the Egyptian army. Actually, that was further down the screen. That was from
Well, that's not the
yesterday.
website.
Yeah.
This is the safe website. This is
Yeah.
the website we're dealing with right now.
Oh, sorry.
Is Carissa there? Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are
Hi
you? This is
there.
Tom. How you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
Good. And CJ is with me. You can't see us. She's not Skyped in, right? Just audio. We met the other day, and I spoke at the Port St. Lucie Republican Club. And great bunch of people, tremendous evening. Damon was with me. And you guys did a little presentation. We were very impressed by it. Why don't you take a minute, Carissa, and share with our audience, our listeners, our viewers, this phenomenal program you have going on for abused women.
Thank Thank you so much. Well, I'm on the board of directors of Safe Space, the Domestic Violence Center for the Treasure Coast, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County. We do serve all three areas. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we have a big awareness raiser that we kick off to help gain some attention for the issue. We have Good Men Stands Up Against Domestic Violence and Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Quite literally, we provide the good men who register with 4-inch red stilettos, and they go for a 1-mile stroll in all three counties. I'm the chair for the St. Lucie County event, so that's a lot of fun. It gets a lot of people talking because it's kind of crazy, a little bit silly. So we are able to raise awareness for something that so many people consider a private family matter and a personal issue, and we just want to pretend it isn't going on, when in reality 1 out of 3 women are affected at some point in their life by it.
My goodness.
Carissa, I would love to join your event. I'm a big, huge, supporter of
Your
women's
mic, I don't
rights.
think your mic is on.
A big supporter of women's rights and everything. But I would break my little puny ankles trying to walk in those stilettos. I do not understand how women can do that. It's an art form. It really is.
It definitely is. But I'll tell you, a lot of the guys are surprisingly talented. We actually have some that are so good that we do a pre-event in August, and they are actually going to be doing a dodgeball tournament while wearing the stilettos.
Oh, God.
We have a picture of this big, huge guy wearing like a tutu and pumps sprinting to the finish.
Yeah, look at him there. What is your website, Carissa? How do people get in touch with you?
Well, we have our website, which is safespacefl.org, and there's all the information on there about all three events. And then our phone number is 772-223-2399, so they can call and get all of the information there as well. So we have a lot of fun. We kind of call it a season instead of an event leading up to it. So we're really, really looking forward to it. And for those who can't wear the stilettos, we do have like red booty shoe covers.
Okay, good.
So you don't have to break your ankles either.
I've seen
can we-
Mark
can we-
wearing those shoes.
Can you be reached at safeplaceshelter.com?
No, that's the wrong address.
Correct. That's a different shelter.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
different one, okay.
shelter. We need to place it.
Yeah.
I think that we'll
Okay.
turn it off here.
I believe there's a safe place in Michigan, but you can't find me there.
Okay, good. Well, no, this is pretty cool. Now, we only have about a minute left with you. We're gonna get the proper name up for there it is, for the website. What is the typical situation of the abused woman who seeks out your assistance?
You know what? Contrary to popular belief, there really isn't a typical situation. And something we really stressed 2 years ago, we had an event where Stephanie Herodopoulos came and spoke, and she was the wife of our past Senate President, Mike Herodopoulos. And she's a physician, very, very well-educated woman. She's beautiful. She's from high socioeconomic status, and she was abused from her former husband. Domestic violence does not discriminate at all based on your race, your ethnicity, your religion, the amount of money you have in your pocket, or anything like that. So there really isn't a typical situation. But a lot of times these women are with kids. It makes it really hard for them to leave because they're scared of custody situations. They might not have any money.
Right.
They don't know what's going to happen. They've been threatened. Their children have been threatened. So it's really hard, and that's something we try really hard to get across, too, is the whole why doesn't she just leave mentality. Because there's so many reasons. If you have a job that you hate, but you still go to work every day, you do it because you have to provide. So, it's kind of along those lines.
Along those lines, do you find a lot of people who come out of abused situations, members of a polygamous relationship, and do you have people who speak out, or from the Muslim community? Because I know there's a lot of abuse going on with women in the Muslim community, and also in polygamous relationships.
Yes, I think that there definitely could be a correlation there, but the strongest point is that domestic violence occurs with somebody who's looking to have power and control over somebody else.
Oh, okay, I rest my case. It's power control. I mean that's what a polygamous relationship and these male dominating, male patrilinear societies breed is male superiority, male dominance, and male abuse against women.
So, yeah, if a woman is viewed as property, then
Yes.
it's a lot easier for them to be controlled, to have that power held over them. So it is seen a lot of times that way.
All right,
What-
CJ, you have a
yeah,
question? then we
I
gotta
just
let
want to
her go.
ask a quick question. Some women aren't ready to go to a shelter or contact you and ask for help. They're not even ready to admit it to their friends or their family members that they have a problem. But sometimes we can see that somebody we know and care about is in a situation that they pretty much need to be rescued
Right,
from.
right.
Do you recommend people who are aware that there's a problem, that they contact you themselves and maybe get information on how to help somebody to reach you who's, they're not quite ready to make that step on their own?
Something we very strongly encourage is if you have that feeling in your gut about
Yeah.
somebody, it's there for a reason.
Right.
So even if you're scared of offending them or, anything like that, we really encourage you to go up and say, hey, is everything okay? This is what I'm seeing. And they also don't need to come work with us in the shelter. Most of our services are provided on an outreach basis. So if they have the means that they can go stay with family, they can get a hotel room, they can relocate.
Right.
They don't need to come stay in our emergency shelter. We'll still help provide them with safety plans and all the resources that they need to really pick up themselves up and move forward with their lives. But absolutely, have the family contact us, have, their friends contact us, whoever there, because we really need to get the education out there in the public.
Right.
And one of the
Because
things.
it's not a matter of when something bad's going to happen, it's not a matter
if.
of if,
Wait,
Yeah,
we
it's
gotta-
when,
we got to
yeah.
wrap this up, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, wrap this up. I just want to send a message out to all these women who are being abused out there. It's not your fault. You are not responsible for this abuse. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Now, Damon, one more time, the website.
The website is
Is-
safespacefl.org. And for more information on the Slip on the Red Stilettos Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, the phone number 772-223-2399.
Great work, Carissa. We
Yeah, keep up the
Thank
great
you,
job.
admire what
Carissa.
you're doing.
Admire what you're doing.
Thank
Thank
you
so much.
so much. It was a pleasure to be on here with you guys, and you keep up your great work.
Okay, thanks. All right, Carissa Grone.
Excellent.
yeah,
Sorry I didn't
yeah,
get to
yeah,
meet
yeah.
her.
Well, no, I mean, our work on national security, as we're introducing some of our new viewers and listeners, deals with the abuse that Muslim women have that is indigenous and integral to Islamic doctrine. Not a big surprise. So we're, and if this safe house, this safe organization was in a predominantly, not even predominantly, but a strong Islamic community,
Right.
she'd have a revolving door of Muslim women
Well,
coming in and out of there.
She'd have acid attacks.
That's right.
regularly
The problem,
Yeah.
but the
also.
problem is, if a woman leaves the tribe,
She's
leaves the
banished.
tightness of her community, she's dead.
Yeah.
She could be dead or hurt.
And also,
in
and
Islam.
you got to see the psychological component. They've been drilled inside their lives, their entire head. The entire lives, their head is that the abuse is somehow they are responsible. If I just didn't do this, I wouldn't get beaten.
Yep.
If I didn't do this, I wouldn't get beaten. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't get beaten. And that's the tragedy of that downward spiral abuse cycle. And that's very, very prevalent in the Islamic community
Well-
because they are responsible for the honor, but they can't control it. The men beat them and kill them and do whatever.
And not only that, this pattern of abuse and the cycle of abuse, the behavior of the victims of the abuse, we see that here in the West. We see that in Israel, not just as individual victims of domestic violence, but culturally, we all act like victims of violence.
We are.
What happens when 9/11
What do we do
happens?
wrong?
What do we do? What did I do?
What did I do
blame
wrong?
myself. What can I do to make it
Exact-
better for the person who's trying to
We
hurt
are
me?
acting-
And we are,
Great point, CJ.
as culturally, in the United States, in Israel, we are acting as
As
if
abused
we
women.
are the
our fault.
problem,
That's a very good
not
point.
the perpetrators of the violence. And this is foremost in my mind when these stupid peace talks, these fake, phony peace talks
Well-
are happening in
Well,
Washington,
it'd be like-
where
the-
the
the-
abusers are dictating to the abused the
Yes.
terms
Yes, if you just do
of
this,
acquiescence.
if you
Yes.
if you just cleaned up the house like I told you to
If
do,
you would just
if you
cook
did
that
thing
meatloaf
like-
properly, then I wouldn't be
beat
having
you.
to beat you.
If you would just give us all your land back, then
If you
we
would
won't,
just-
yeah.
Wife,
I think
beating your wife is part of the Islamic religion. Okay, you can even find imams today that will issue fatwas enforcing such, but you cannot leave a mark. As long as you do not
Okay.
leave a mark,
Right.
you are allowed
I've heard
discipline
this.
your woman,
I've
and
heard
you
this
can look.
BS.
This is
I've heard
all
this
over.
BS
You
Right.
can find it.
But if they're all
So-
covered up, how does
Yeah,
anybody
right,
know
yeah.
anyhow?
I've heard debates between Muslim imams and leaders arguing the fine points of just how hard that the husband can hit the wife.
You do not want to send your wife to hospital, okay? That is crazy.
Yeah,
But
'cause then you
sometimes-
bring the law down
sometimes,
on
But you
like
can
you are
kill.
interrupting me right
you
now.
can kill her,
Sometimes a
right?
good
But you can kill her, right?
that is a different story. In an argument, you would not kill your wife. If she dishonor your family, absolutely.
All right. Well, I think all our problems are going to be resolved because sometimes there's a sad moment in American history, but it's followed by a very joyous moment. And I know we're all shedding a tear that Janet Napolitano is stepping down.
Oh,
Janet Napolitano, I'm over here, Mike. Janet Napolitano is stepping down as the head of the Department of Homeland Security. And her possible predecessor, okay, the individual that may take her place, a woman. I don't have a problem with that. You have a problem with a woman serving
No,
as the
not
head
at
of
all.
Homeland Security?
Well, this one has done such a good job. Why not another?
Yeah. Said unsarcastically in an Islamic dialect. I think the Black Caucus may be onto something because they have nominated as
the
the next
Congressional
head
Black Caucus.
the Congressional Black Caucus. Yeah, the one in Congress that Alan West was a member of, the Black Congressional Congress.
Democratic Congressional Congress.
Yeah. They have nominated the next possible head of Department of Homeland Security. Do you remember?
Oh gosh.
We need her picture. You got her picture there?
That
Remember
Sheila?
Representative Sheila Jackson Lee.
Oh
Where
my
are you,
God.
Sheila? Come front
Yeah.
and center.
Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
What a complete.
She is from Texas. She's a Democrat.
Really?
And this lady is a lunatic. I mean, this
She's
is
part of the Free Gaza movement, isn't she?
I don't know if she was, but she is just a nasty, she's a leftist socialist without question. She is well known for her hatred for conservatives, conservative groups.
Her
She
hatred for
compared-
whites also.
for whites. She compared in 2010. There she is right there, folks, on our screen. That's Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. She compared the Tea Party to the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. She said, all those who wore shorts a long time ago have now lifted them off. And they started wearing, applause, she's talking about the Tea Party. With a name I'm saying, I am the Tea Party, she goes on to say. So this person, what is going on in the head of the
She is
Congressional Black Caucus?
certifiably 100% nuts. And
but-
if they even contemplate giving her that position,
But how? I mean, this was reported
She's
in
totally brain dead,
BizPac Review by Tom Tillison, a friend of ours. How could a professional organization, a political organization, how could? Oh wait, I just answered the question. It's the
Yeah.
Congressional Black Caucus. Okay, they're so far out in left field. All right, so we're not finding any safety and security there, and in fact, our country may be in a legitimate crisis. America may be in a crisis unlike any that we have seen before, barring entry into a couple of significant wars. But the other day I spoke at the Port St. Lucie, that's a county, St. Lucie County. Oh, I forgot about him. Oh. We have another report coming out of Orlando that we need to get to. We will do that in a second. The other day I spoke at St. Lucie County on the issue of America in crisis. And we're going to show you a little bit of a video. But first we need to go right up, not too far from St. Lucie County. We need to go to Orange County, where Orlando, Florida is, and get a report from our United West guy in Orlando, Florida, Alan Corman.
Did we leave him
Welcome
on the
back to
phone again? Usually we introduce him and then forget he's
Then
there.
forget he's there. Alan, hello.
Hi, Alan.
Hi, Tom. You did Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, yeah, we want our weekly report from up in Orange County, a jihad report, or just a plain crazy report. You got any crazy stuff or jihad report going on up in the Central Florida neck of the woods?
Well, not so much that. This report has what's going on with Sheriff Mike Scott down in your neck of the woods in Fort Myers, Florida, as part of the tail end of the Trayvon Martin case. And Sheriff Mike Scott was invited by the NAACP, President Muwakil, I believe is how you pronounce his name, down in Fort Myers, to fund their awards banquet as the local sheriff. And they were asked to sponsor the event financially. Well, Sheriff Mike Scott sent a letter back to the NAACP telling them no. And he said, frankly, I believe the NAACP locally and nationally loses credibility when it picks and chooses which issues it rallies around and embraces what often appears to be a double standard relative to race and ethnicity, in citing two examples of black-on-black violence, and then also going into the Zimmerman case where Zimmerman, whose parents are Peruvian, being labeled as a white Hispanic, and the blurring of the lines of the ethnic question and the racial question that came out of that trial.
Good grief.
Good grief.
Okay.
Alan, what do you think about this story? Because we were talking about this the other day, that it seems that the whole Trayvon thing has kind of petered out, and all the instigating has pretty much come to naught. What do you think is going to happen next?
Oh, I had just written an article on this that appeared in Family Security Matters, and there was one piece of information that never came up that I came across, and it involves mixed race. And I came to the conclusion that the civil rights movement has officially jumped the shark. And I'll explain why. Is that in the 2010 census, for the first time, they started asking about mixed race. And what happened with those numbers is astonishing, CJ, because the background of mixed race grew by 32% between 2000 and 2010, and in all the U.S. population, mixed multiple race groups increased by 50%. So what that says is that the old ethnic and racial lines of white, black, Hispanic are no longer applicable. That now, melting pot, there's been so much. It's so common. If you just watch TV or even go to the NAACP,
Right.
President Obama is of mixed race.
Right. Well,
Jealous. The NAACP is mixed race. And then you've got Harry Belafonte, the greatest bigot of all, is mixed race. And it goes, Winston Churchill is of mixed race. So the point is that the racial lines have now been blurred. The census and the melting pot of America, the true essence of what makes this country great, is the melting pot that we're all Americans, and we all intermingle, we all intermarry, and love overpowers race every time. And that's the main point. And because of this love for people and people loving other people, race is becoming a secondary issue. And all that came to naught and hit the head with the Zimmerman trial. And the census confirms it, and Sheriff Mike Scott articulated it by telling the NAACP down in Fort Myers to basically go get bent.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Alan, let me ask you, how mixed do you have to be per the United States government to be considered of mixed race? I mean, can anybody say because they had like a great grandparent or so, or great great grandparent who was a different race? Does that
Elizabeth Warren has high
can
cheekbones.
can anybody just say, well, I'm African American because a great 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 grandfather on my mother's side was black, so therefore I am too, and then claim special minority privileges, or
down to your whole lineage. I think it's just more. Let's say that you fall in love with a Latino or a black man, and you have kids, and now you've got Jewish Latino babies. Now you're a mixed race. Welcome to the club. Now you can put that down on the census and be counted.
huh?
Wow.
Get you any free stuff?
Yeah, all kinds.
All right. Well, we're going to have to, Alan. We're gonna go ahead. What's your concluding thought?
The net effect is that the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons of the world, who make their living literally playing the racial card of black and white, once those lines have been blurred and we're all become a melting pot, these guys are a lot of business because their race-baiting hatred will not have a place because it just won't be there. That's why I say that now they've jumped the shark. They exposed themselves during the Zimmerman trial.
Right.
The buffoons they are, and Mike Scott articulated it expertly.
Except for one thing.
The NAACP and President Obama.
Except for one thing, yeah.
The chief of police or the sheriff in Fort Myers, Mike Scott.
Mike Scott, I like that, but I will say this to add to that I think part of the program of the Obama administration, the Holder Justice Department, the whole radical left of this country for the last several years has been on a parallel path, not only instigating racial issues, but instigating class issues. So if the whole house of cards falls apart racially because kumbaya, everybody's mixed and we all love each other, we still have the class warfare, anti-capitalist element to go after the same people who you couldn't go after before on account of racism.
And that's another show because that's a huge
That's
issue.
why President Obama, the great divider.
Yep. And
The great divider.
That issue.
Alan, where can people get a hold of your article?
Yeah.
They can go to Family Security Matters, and the title of the article is Lee County Sheriff Exposes NAACP Hypocrisy.
Okay.
That's at www.familysecuritymatters.org.
Awesome.
Security
Thank
Matters.
you.
And
Good work.
Fort Myers is on the other side of the coast, right underneath Tampa, Florida, about 4 hours west of here, a couple hours southwest of where you are. Quiet little community with a lot of jihad activity. So bravo to Mike Scott, sheriff there. All right, thank you, Alan. We got to let you go. We got a little special thing.
We
we're
won't
doing.
leave you hanging on this time.
Great work.
All right, thank you. Take it easy.
Alan Corman, by the way, Central Florida Director for the United West.
United West.
Yeah.
And we got a whole bunch of stuff to do here. Let me think. You did a lot of work on editing that video. So no, we can push some of this stuff over to tomorrow's show.
We got 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, and it's 15 minutes. So I think we will take this piece. We have a video we're going to show you right now of me speaking, and what we can do is
You want to close with it? Or you open with it?
decisions. No, I think we'll save it.
TikTok, we're not getting any younger here.
I think we'll save it because the original plan was to play it in the beginning and then have us discuss some key components of it.
Oh, we can do that tomorrow.
And then lay out, tomorrow's Jumpin' Juma. This will fit more for next Monday, actually.
Okay.
Today is, don't you know what today is? It's August 1st, Mark, Thursday.
Yes.
So what we'll do, because I got a whole bunch of goodies floating over here,
Okay.
too. that we need to get to.
So much
And,
material, so little time.
I know. Man, those 3 hours that used to fly by, now 1 hour flies by. But at 45 minutes after 5 o'clock on this beautiful Thursday, July August 1st, it would have been July 32nd, but the guy said, it's too many days. So
Stop right there.
August 1st, we're coming to you from WNN 1470. That means the letters are WNN, the number's 1470, and every morning at 6 o'clock you can watch our good friends Brian Craig and Steve Kane on the Steve Kane Show. They do a great job, all things attacking the Obama bad stuff. Sometimes they support.
Imam, I got a question.
Yes,
for
can
you.
I help you, Mr. Mark?
How many days are in the Islamic calendars? Is that like
It
somewhere?
varies. It depends on we are on lunar.
Oh, you're on a lunar calendar, like a 29 and a half day type of cycle?
You know, like we do not even know when Ramadan will begin. We have to see
Well,
where the position of the moon.
Well,
So
speaking of the Ramadan thing, do we have a Ramadan kind of general report?
Ramadan,
Because it
Bombathon.
changes
It does.
hourly.
It changes hourly.
Has it
Yeah,
gone
give me a
down?
second to look
Has
it
We
it
up.
need an
gone down?
intro. We need a
We need a
Ramadan, Bombathon.
Ramadan, Bombathon. Actually, it's only up.
Ramadan.
That's good. That works.
That's really good.
That worked.
that's a
Ramadan,
creepy-ass crap.
Bombathon.
What do you got there?
Well, we're only updated through day 23.
Oh, they're a little behind. Oh, get that out of there.
They're a little bit behind.
How'd that
But
happen?
so far, in the name of the religion of peace, 229 terrorist attacks, 22 suicide bombings, 2,271 wounded, and 1,173 dead bodies.
We continue
So-
to crush you, infidels.
For the 30-day period or so, actually, they're already ahead of the curve. And there's still a week to go.
And what we're doing, folks, right now, it is the month of Ramadan, which is the holiest.
She's not quite done with it. How many of the other ones on the opposing
There's
side?
the asterisk of the
We're gonna
Ukrainian.
I'm gonna
Oh, I
come
thought you were-
back to you.
oh, okay,
I'm gonna come
sorry.
back to you.
Okay.
What we're doing for our new viewers and listeners here on National Security Radio, where you can live, laugh, and learn as we educate you on some of these issues. We're taking a look at the month of Ramadan, which by all documentation and proclamation is the holiest, most spiritual month for the 1.3 billion Muslims worldwide. But we've noticed in Ramadan's past that there's an increase
from the religion of peace.
in killings, terrorism, murders within the Muslim community during the month
Against
of Ramadan.
each other. It's
That
not
is
that they're
because of-
it's not that they're targeting the infidels. It's they're targeting each other.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah, help
the
us understand the-
Shia are heretic. So to call them Islamic, for me, that is an insult, and they are just heretic. They are not true Muslims. So basically, we're bombing them because they're calling themselves Muslims when they are really not.
Well, are they Muslims when they attack us?
Yes.
Well, again, so here's our point for our new
You're so cute when you
listeners,
smile like that.
or securing our point for our longtime listeners, that if you're going to develop a national security policy, which we work on, we produce material, we do briefings, we work with key people working very closely with policymakers in the United States, worldwide. If you're going to develop national security policies dealing with Islamic jihad, it's critically important to understand the theology, philosophy, history, doctrine of Islamic jihad. One of the components of understanding that is to see the behavioral patterns of Muslims during the month of Ramadan and the
Yeah.
justification for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, are we condemning all Muslims everywhere? Of course not. Many Muslims, the majority, simply sleep during the day. It's become, if you can as a Muslim,
Right.
because you can't eat,
Right.
So you sleep and you're up at night.
You sleep and pray, and then you get up and you.
No, you
and
gorge yourself because
At night.
over Ramadan.
And then you overeat, and everybody gains weight in Ramadan.
Yeah,
It's kind of like going on a
2.5%.
cruise.
2.5% body fat is gained overall during Ramadan.
in the,
Yeah.
we know everything Ramadan.
Yeah.
So, so what we're saying is we're looking at this piece that is lethal, this piece that is jihad.
Yeah.
Why? Can we analyze what is going on there among Sunni and Shia and extrapolate from there some sort of projective principles that might help us stay safe?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. We do that in a very sophisticated academic way, but we also do it in a sarcastic way, drawing your attention from the Latin concept of reductio ad absurdum, reduced to absurdity,
Yeah.
some of these doctrinal principles to show the flaws and failures of this governmental system called Islam. Somebody, not us, put together a website called
thereligionofpeace.com.
And they do what during Ramadan, this 30-day period, which
They
ends
have
August 9th.
the chart of they call it the Ramadan Bombathon scorecard.
Scorecard.
Yeah,
So
it's a scorecard.
So go through it one more time for everybody.
So to go through it one more time, as of day 23, terror attacks committed in the name of the religion of peace are 229, with 22 suicide bombings, 1,173 dead bodies, and 2,271 wounded. Now, that's not counting, what's happening in Egypt and
Yes,
Syria.
I would like to say these numbers are very
fighting,
low.
That doesn't count fighting
Our
with
performance has been-
uniforms on.
Our performance
okay?
has been much
Okay.
stronger
Do you
than
see
these
what I'm
numbers
saying?
indicate.
So for our audience, hang on, come back here for a second. For our audience, Imam Abdullah, and they're going, why is that guy saying they're low? Imam Abdullah is saying that the way you win the bombathon is to have high numbers of
Yes.
bombings around.
Yes,
Is
it
that
is
what
more
you're
like basketball than golf.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Not low numbers, but high numbers.
Yeah, and it's
Okay?
not just the Muslims take this opportunity to attack each other. Because
we
of
gladly
course
kill
they're
Christians
always,
and Jews.
yeah. I mean, they appreciate the free-for-all that Ramadan represents in that aspect, but of course, attacks against particularly Christians in other parts of the world intensify sharply.
Intensify.
Yeah, they intensify greatly. Attacks against Jewish people don't intensify greatly because most of the Jewish people they would be attacking are in the state of Israel, and they have this terrible habit of defending themselves. So
And Ramadan, for everyone out there, is the recognition and celebration of the process where I don't believe this as a Christian that this is true, but this is what Islam believes, that Allah, which is not the God of
Right.
Israel or of Christianity,
He is the moon god.
he's the moon god.
Allah gave the Quran
Yeah.
to the words of the Quran to the angel Gabriel,
Right.
who then gave it to Muhammad, and Muhammad inscribed this stuff, wrote it down, didn't even know what he was writing, but just wrote this down, very much like Joseph Smith.
Yeah, I was going to
some of
say
the
it
Mormon
sounds like
golden-
something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a very holy, very spiritual month to fast so that you can sacrifice and grow close to Allah. From a threat assessment as national security analysts, why would somebody during such a holy and revered time strap a bomb? And your numbers, CJ, show one suicide bomber a day at least.
At least.
Well,
And-
if you want to put the
and
At
10
least.
comparatively speaking, that's like just on the killed by the bombings.
Yeah.
That's like 4 jet at 350 people in a jetliner. That's like
crashing down.
Yeah.
4 jetliners,
Yeah.
people killed, and on top of that, another 8 airliners filled of people
Right.
killed.
Right.
Just
But
in
the
Ramadan.
context, this point is very important. The context is
Yeah.
why would people
Because-
during a holy time see it important to kill other people of the same religion?
Because
Right.
we're doing it for Allah. What is so hard to understand? It is the holiest month, okay? The holiest month of the year. It is a month of the birth of Muhammad, Puba. And,
Piba.
and so we have this zealousness to us. As we get closer to Allah, we want to do more for Allah. And so
Okay.
that
Oh, I
means
see.
And if the Shias are considered the enemies of the Sunnis and you're
And?
destroying your enemies, then that's a jihad
So
against
Shias
your
are the
enemies.
Hatfields, and the
Right.
Sunnis are the McCoys.
Right.
And they slice each other's
Only
throats.
we outnumbered them
Right.
about 85 to 15.
Right. Also, doesn't it strike you that Ramadan, the whole concept of Ramadan, when Allah gave the Quran to Muhammad, is it seems like they're kind of snatching something else from Judaism with that,
Oh,
doesn't it? You know, kind of like Moses
It's
getting
a
the
rip-off
Torah.
system.
Yeah.
Well, it's a complete rip-off system of
Yeah.
And from their
Judaism.
point of view, there being Islamic scholars, you guys, the Jews, were given Torah. You failed in bringing the truth of God to the people. You had all kinds of internal battles and kingdoms and judges, and just was a mess. Your temple was destroyed twice. So God, in His wisdom, gave the New Testament to the Christians, and now the Christians had an opportunity to bring God to the world.
And they got it wrong too.
They got it wrong.
They
They
got
failed.
it wrong too.
Yeah.
The final prophet, Muhammad, came. He got it right. And whereas in the Hebrew Bible, there was a God who had it's hard to say vengeful, because whatever God does is right, but as we perceive a vengeful component. And in the New Testament, there was more a love component. Islam tries to bring both of those together by having a vengeful God who they say is a loving God, but the word love appears, I think, in the Quran 3 or 4 times.
And in
hate
connection
and
with,
kill,
yeah.
nothing to do with Jews or Christians, that's for
Right.
sure. So,
What do you mean? We talk about the Jews and Christians very much in the Quran.
They say there are people of the book, but that's really a farce.
Yeah.
It's not what you're thinking of, that it's all the same God. It's such a lie. It really is, because anyway, go ahead.
Gosh,
We're out of
finish
know,
time.
I
your
just
report,
have
and then
to
I got
say-
one other little piece before we end the show on the ongoing talks in
Okay.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just as a contrast, within the same 23-day period, I'll just tell you that no Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Zoroastrians, animists, or anybody else,
Tea Party. How about Tea Party?
no Tea Partiers,
Scientologists?
Scientologists?
no
No?
Scientologists,
Those are very strange people.
committed any of these attacks in the name of their religion. None.
Zero.
Zero.
Sissies.
Zero.
Sissies. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So why is it that we are all the ones
We're the
who
bad guys.
have
We're
the
the
problem?
Islamophobes.
Why
We're the
are
haters.
we the bad
So
guys?
4 jetliners full of people have gone down, and nobody in the world has reported on it.
No.
Well, and the reports are bomb goes off in Pakistan, 40 people dead. you know.
Rampaging youth
and,
or hooligans in the streets setting fires to cars.
And tune in to The
all
Bachelorette
across-
tonight on ABC.
all
and see the
across
finale.
Europe, but that's all you're going to hear
Yeah.
about.
America
Americans are
is
so
in a
stupid.
crisis.
I love it.
But can you pull up, please, Dr. Mohammed Shatay's Facebook page? Do you have that?
Yes, I believe I did.
If we'd like to show you, folks, Dr. Mohammed Shatay's Facebook page. Dr. Mohammed Shatay right now is being wined
That one.
and dined in the probably staying at the Willard or one of the top hotels in Washington, D.C., a guest of the United States State Department, a guest of your taxpayer dollars. And there's the Facebook page for Dr. Mohammed Shatay, chief negotiator for the Fatah. The Fatah is the political entity in the West Bank that is trying to negotiate peace with the Jews. Take a look at his Facebook page.
Yeah,
This
Mohammed
is-
Shtaya.
This is live right now. See that little squiggly green thing in the center?
Yeah.
Right up to the right of the,
Strictly
of
Israel.
the dome.
Here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That is the that is some land, and we only have about 30 seconds here. That's a piece of land. Historians and people in geography call that Israel, and then there's a dispute within Israel about some of the land. CJ, what does that Arabic say there?
Oh, it says Philistine.
That whole country that some people call Israel has Philistine, which is what?
Palestine
written all over it. The chief negotiator back here, the chief negotiator, leave it there. The chief negotiator for the Muslim side, the Islamic side, trying to find peace with Israel, has on his Facebook page a symbol saying the only way he sees the future is with all of Israel being Palestine. Folks, no peace, only security for Israel. We got to go.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Jump in Juma Freaky Friday. Bye, everybody.
Allah Akbar!